Welcome everybody. Once again, here we are doing all this annoying content for you, right? We're doing a lot of things. Yesterday, complete success with our Spanish launch. And today we continue for English. Every Thursday, we're going to have webinars, workshops, all of these things that our experts are going to do, including expert demo, which is going to be a new format that we're going to launch in May, basically. That is our experts showing you how it works by sharing their screens, super actionable. So the plan for today is that we are going to have one of our top Colombian experts, and this expert, I have a lot of stories about this expert. He's a Google marketing, selected marketer expert. So he's one of the worldwide selected experts for working with Google marketing. He knows all about marketing. And we actually had the opportunity of introducing him in the Netherlands when we hosted an event back in Amsterdam about online marketing framework, or how to think about marketing in a strategic way. So I'm really happy to welcome Luis today. Luisito.
Hello,
Hola.
everyone. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where in the
Yeah.
planet you are.
For the Netherlands, we're talking about 6 p.m. So
Okay,
yeah, finishing the
almost
day
evening.
there with Luis, nice, because it's good dreams after this event. I hope
Nice.
that we can
Hope,
add a lot of
great.
value, hopefully, that nobody
That's
has
the idea.
nightmares. So yeah, I kept my glasses today because Luis had something really nice. He's always sharing his glasses. So this is something that I have to say about Luis. We have met for a long time now, and I want to just give a little introduction apart from your own introduction, and just tell you how is it going to go today. So apart from this introduction, we're going to have 40 minutes to do a presentation about this topic today, really relevant checklist to get your e-commerce business started. So two things. Not only people that are starting, but people that already are there and maybe they're missing something from that checklist. Yeah, that's important. Luis has over 16 years of experience working with this. Tell us a little bit more about it. Yeah, about you and about the topic for today.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Mario, again for the opportunity, for the invite. Very glad to be here today and being able to share with this very relevant topic, especially these days, that all the
Mm-hmm.
crisis and how I usually prefer to call it our new reality. If there
Mm-hmm.
is something that it's completely exploding and growing a lot, it's e-commerce. I always say, and I've been witnessing it, that people that have never bought online, it's doing it right now. This is our new
Great.
reality, and if
Yeah.
you are struggling with the new reality and the new situation, chances are one of your greatest opportunities is definitely the e-commerce. So
Yeah.
basically, that is the idea. So basically, about my experience, I'm an electronic engineer. That's my background. From the electronic engineering, I jumped into programming, and I started my career 16 years ago as a programmer. I was developing websites and applications for the internet, and then I jumped into a very specific topic within the online marketing, which is SEO, search engine optimization. It's been my focus, or one of my main focus on these 16 years. I devoted basically the first 7 years of my professional life only on programming for SEO. I was basically what we call a technical SEO developer. That was
Okay.
my focus first, and then since 2011, I decided to quit, and I started to build my own project. I decided to open up to the whole digital marketing landscape with a technical view, which is very useful on these topics. Having the
Mm.
technical background is very handy. And I basically offer two types of services, which are trainings as this. I am doing trainings, classes, courses, and as we were just talking a few minutes ago, in the last month, webinars all day long, basically. It's been crazy, but I think as long as the content is valuable and as long as
Yeah.
we have information valuable for you, I'm glad to be able to share. And the
That's
other service that I usually offer, it's personalized advisory. one-on-one sessions where we can uh, work on your products, and I will be more than happy to transfer you knowledge, experiences, best practices, and tools to make your work easier and to help you improve your strategy. So we were
Mhm.
going to be talking about that a little bit at the end. So that's
So basically,
pretty much about
that's the recap in a nutshell. As a member of our expert pool, yeah, since the very beginning, we're really happy to count on Luis for both, Spanish and English services. And the logic or value proposition basically is to make it handy. It's not only, oh, look how much he knows about this topic, but what I really love about, Luis and all of our experts is that we make it easy for people to understand these concepts and to not feel shy about raising their hand and say, hey, what is this, please translate, especially in marketing that we have so much slang and stuff that can be complicated. So to make that knowledge accessible and to make it in a way that people see that after a webinar like this they are not alone because they can continue the conversation. That's the goal of this event. So it's not just another webinar, la, la, la. So the idea is to make it fun, accessible, and also you will see it that we're going to have the Q&A section. So just feel free to post via comments all your questions so we can cover them. And also we're going to have 15 minutes free call with Luis so you can book him and ask anything on all the topics that we're covering, regardless of where you're standing now, if you're starting or anything. With that in mind, please keep actively engaged through comments, take your notes, and make sure that if you haven't registered, you share your email address, because we're going to send you an email with the slides and with this video and everything that you'll need to continue on this topic. Okay, Luis, thank you. I leave you. See you soon.
perfect. Thank you, Maria. And here we go. Then what we're going to be talking for the next 40 minutes is a checklist to get your e-commerce business start, or as Maria mentioned, optimized. Because if you already have an e-commerce, the checklist will be also useful, so you can check which items have you done and which items could be pending. So the idea is that you get something very, very handy on the meantime. So we already talked about the agenda, introduction. Now it's done. I'm already introduced. Now we are going to jump into the presentation, and we are going to have at the end our Q&A, so you can ask the questions that you want, and we will make our best to get them solved. This is me, you already know. So we are going to start with the checklist on the infrastructure side of it. The first thing you need to jump into e-commerce offers several alternatives. Basically, maybe if you have never had a website and you don't have an e-commerce website, the fastest you can do right now, in my opinion, will be to jump on Facebook and either create, or if you already have it, you can go to your Facebook page, your Facebook fan page, and you can create a store. It is free. You can just go and do it and put your pictures, names, descriptions, and prices for your products and have your store on Facebook. This is something that you will be able to connect with either your Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp. So if someone is interested on those products, they will be able to chat you on Facebook or on WhatsApp. If you have your store on Facebook, you will be able to connect it with Instagram as well. So you can tag products on your posts, and that will be probably the easier way to start an e-commerce business as fast as possible. There's another opportunity that you may also want to check on WhatsApp. There's an option called WhatsApp Business. If you're not using it yet, I will definitely recommend it. Go and install WhatsApp Business. It's a different app. You will need to decide which one you want to use, or maybe you want to keep WhatsApp, the regular WhatsApp, for your personal phone and get another phone with WhatsApp Business with a different number so you don't mix up the contacts and all the stuff. But WhatsApp Business also allows you to create a catalog of your products. So if someone send you a message, you will be able to send product information pretty easy. You will be able to also configure preset messenger messages, sorry, for greeting new contacts or for away messages at night or something like that. You can create frequently used replies or responses or something like that. So that will be the fastest way. If not, there's also another opportunity, which is using third-party marketplaces like Amazon, Etsy, and several other marketplaces out there that will allow you to upload your products and start selling them online. Those are some easy and fast ways you can jump onto selling online. If you're going a bit deeper and you want to have your own e-commerce websites, there's usually two options. You can have your own personal server where you can set up your own solution and your own code and everything. And then you can have solution in the cloud. These are examples of platforms that you can use to set up your e-commerce. Basically, if you decide to have your own server, you will need to have a domain and a hosting. You can get it online, and then you will need to install either WooCommerce, which is a plugin from WordPress, which is one of my favorites actually, or if you're building a little bit more complex e-commerce store, maybe Magento will be a little bit more complex, or PrestaShop. If you want to go on the cloud, Shopify is usually the most popular solution. You can go and set up a store pretty easy. They have a monthly subscription, and then I think there's a transaction fee or something like that. So you will be able to create your e-commerce site using one of these platforms. And then you will need to get, as I was mentioning, the hosting and domain. These are some of the usually most recommended providers for this kind of thing. As you can see, for $2 or $3 a month, you can get a domain and hosting, and then you can store your website and start offering transactions online. Then the next step that you will need to decide is on a payment gateway. There's several of them, lots of them, different benefits and strengths, but maybe some of the most popular ones I will say are these two guys, PayPal and Stripe. But as I was saying, depending on your country, there will be different options. So you may want to go and check conditions, fees, commissions, and deposits, and everything related to the payment gateway, so you can get an idea which one is best for your requirements, for your type of product, for the amounts that you are gonna transact, and everything. And basically, what you need to do is go and set up an account with any of these or any other payment gateway. And usually, they always have integration extensions or plugins to connect it with your e-commerce website. Either if you're working with WordPress or Shopify, sorry, I'm mixing the words, with Shopify or Magento or any of those, they will probably have plugins or extensions to connect the payments with Stripe or PayPal or whatever, Apple Wallet, Google Wallet, or whatever. So this will help you get online payments, and it will make it easier for people to pay for your products. And now we're going to have a quick checklist of the most important items that you need to take into account and make sure that are covered so your e-commerce website is working properly. So basically, let's talk first about the technology that you are going to set up, the website that it's going to be ready. It's very important that you make sure that you have a great logo and you have a great UI and UX, which is a user interface or user experience. Make sure that your customers are going to have a great experience on your website, especially on e-commerce, and especially these days, the user is very, very sophisticated. We are getting more sophisticated on the way we consume digital products. We are not willing to buy on ugly and shitty websites these days. So you may want to show a great impression and great look and feel, and that's something that it's completely feasible through the design that you put into place. It's also important that you make sure that your website is responsive, because nowadays most of the customers will probably use mobile phones or tablets or even their smartphone, their car screen, maybe a smartwatch, their fridge, the washing machine. Nowadays there's screens everywhere. So you may want to make sure that your website loads fine in every one of those screens. There's a link called Mobile Friendly Test. I'll guess that Maria will share the presentation afterwards, so you can click on the links. And this mobile first test, the mobile friendly test, will show you which aspects of the specifically mobile friendly test are you missing, so you can go and take action on it. It's also important that your website includes some very prominent and visible call to actions, CTAs. It's usually, when we are talking about e-commerce, it's usually an add to cart button or a shop button or buy button, depending on the wording that you prefer. But the important thing is that your call to actions are very prominent on your website. If your user has to scroll a lot and the call to action is at the bottom, it will probably fail. So you want to make sure that it's very visible since the second the user lands on your page. On e-commerce, it's also very important to have a search box, especially if you're having a lot of different products. If you have maybe 5 or 10 products, the user will be able to go and um, sort through the categories and find the products easily. But if you, for example, as Amazon or these huge marketplaces, has thousands of products, it will be hard for the user to go and search category by category and try to find their product. That's why on these huge websites, the search box is the search box is usually very prominent on the page. It's usually the first thing that you will see when you open the page. And the idea is that the user search for their products instead of searching or surfing through the categories. There's another point which is very important, especially from the last couple of years, which is the security certificate. If you have noticed, since the end of 2018, Google updated their Chrome version, and the latest versions in Chrome, their browser, changed the way they are handling the security certificates. Before, we will see when the website is on a secure server, we will see a green lock with a text probably saying secure site or something like that. Since the beginning of 2018, now Chrome only shows a lock. It's not even green anymore. But now, if you don't have the security certificate, it will show an ugly message saying not secure. And imagine trying to get something to buy on a page that it's already saying at the top that the site is not secure. So that will definitely kill your conversions. So you may want to go and check with your hosting provider. They will probably sell these certificates. They are not very expensive. It's something that you can buy for 10, 20, $30 a year probably, and that will be fine, completely fine. And also Google has let us know that they are taking this into account for SEO. So basically these days, a website that is on a secure server ranks better than a website that it's not. So only for that reason, you should go and get your security certificate if you don't have it already. Images are also a very important part of the e-commerce, basically because we are selling products, and lots of products are usually, or the decision is usually made through the images. So you definitely want to have great images, not never think on have pixelated images that will ruin your conversions also, and try to have different images. If you're having products, try to have different angles, or try to have images of the product in context. Try to have different options so the user can have an idea of the product from different angles, basically. Two very important things. Speed is also very important with e-commerce. There's huge amount of studies, you can go and find a lot of them, that have shown that conversion rate, basically the probability of people buying on your website, is directly connected with your speeds. If your website is taking long, too long, it will again kill your conversion. So anything you can do to improve speed, that will be beneficial for your conversion. So make sure you check your site. There's a free tool called Google Page Speed Insights where you can go and test your site and see if it's loading fast or slow. And the good thing about the tool is that it gives you a lot of recommendation. It gives you a score, but try to don't get depressed because the score is usually very strict, and chances are your score at the beginning will be low. But don't think on the score only. Try to think on the options, on the opportunities. Try to understand the recommendations of the tool and try to go and implement them and make sure that your site loads as fast as possible. My advice, maximum 3 seconds. If your pages are loading in more than 3 seconds, it will be very bad for your conversion. There's another opportunity we have in e-commerce in different industries, but for e-commerce is very important, and it's something that we call rich snippets. If you have search for products on Google, you might have noticed that sometimes those products show up in Google with a little group of tiny yellow stars, depending on the ranking or the reviews that customers have given to those reviews. So basically, if you want to show your stars, or if you want stars to show up in your search results, you need to implement something that it's called rich snippets. In the presentation, you will find a link to the documentation. This is a standard called schema.org. In the schema.org, which is a standard created 10 years ago by Google, Bing, Yahoo, and Yandex, the Russian search engine, there's a huge documentation on the metadata that you need to add on every product. The good news is that on e-commerce, that's usually plug and play. Most of the e-commerce platforms that we just mentioned, Shopify, WooCommerce, Magento, PrestaShop, and all of this usually implement those rich snippets by default. The only thing that you need to do, which is actually the hardest part of the game, is getting customers to review the items they buy. Basically, the idea is that after a customer buys a product, you will send an email 2 or 3 days after, inviting them to review the product. And if you start getting those reviews, these stars will probably start showing up in Google. And if your product shows stars in Google, it will have a positive impact on your click-through rate because your product will be more prominent and visible, and you will get more clicks. And as a side effect, it could also get you better positions because Google can think that your product is better, that people is preferring it, so it will help you improve your positions. So basically, these are some recommendations on technology first. And there's also some other items that I will also recommend, which is having related products. Probably if you go to your product pages at the end, it will be a great idea to have a section with related products in case the user thinks that the product is not exactly what they are looking for, but maybe on the related products they will find the information that they are looking for. There's something called cross sales and upsells that you can also implement on your website, basically to increase the ticket at the end. So basically, when someone adds a product to the cart, on the cart page you can show some cross sales and some upsells. If I'm buying this phone, maybe we have this similar phone which is a little bit better, and that can help us increase a little bit the average ticket on our website. It's also important that we have a way of people to register or subscribe. It's very popular on e-commerce sites, and you have probably seen it, that we wait 20 or 30 seconds after the user lands, and then we can fire a pop-up offering a discount or a price or whatever you can offer in exchange for the email address. If we can get the email address, we will have some point of contact that it will be very useful and very important for our email marketing efforts. So it's very important that we have this logic in place. And having this pop-up and getting users' emails will help us to have a cart abandonment recovery email. So basically, if I subscribed on your pop-up, I gave you my email address in exchange for a coupon code or a discount, and then I go add some items to the cart, but then I decided that I was not ready to buy and left. You will have my email. So you will be able to send me an email reminding me that I have products on the cart. Maybe they are getting out of stock or the price changed or something like that. Amazon is an expert on this. They are all the time reminding us. And that will help us increase our conversions. Usually in e-commerce, one of the biggest fails and areas where we lose money is on abandoned carts. So you definitely want to have some logic on that place. Talking about information, the sections or information that you need to have on your e-commerce website, there's several points. Definitely, you may want to have a blog where you're going to share information and reviews and everything related to the products. If maybe you have some complex products, you may want to have guides. This is something that also Amazon does pretty well. If you, for example, are going to buy a helmet for your bike, we are not experts on helmets usually, and if someone asks you what size of helmet you need, you will probably doesn't know. So basically, they have guides where you can print and measure your size, and they will show you and guide you through the process of selecting the appropriate type of helmet for your needs. So all those guides, sizing guides, material guides, type guides, and all that kind of things are very, very important. And resources in case someone wants to go deeper and explore more information about your products. That is very important also for your SEO efforts. The idea is that you also have selling points and make them very prominent as well. Everything related to free shipping, free returns, satisfaction guarantee, and all these items that makes you interesting should definitely go very prominent on the design of your site. You may want to put it in a section of your website that everyone will be able to see it. You also want to have terms and conditions, privacy policy, returns and changes. This is very important specifically for legal issues. In case you have an issue with a customer, usually the customer protection laws are in favor of the customer. So the only thing we have to be a little bit covered are those documents. So you may want to make sure that terms and conditions, privacy policy, and returns and changes are in place. And there's specifically one that has been rolling for the last year and a half or something like that, after the launching of the GDPR policy for the European Union. You definitely need to have everything on place according to the GDPR reglement. So make sure that everything is on place, and make sure that every place you're getting personal data, you have that checkbox. If the customer is buying, right before placing the order, the user needs to accept that you are storing data according to the GDPR regulation and that kind of thing. If you're having a subscription pop up, if you're having a contact form, even if you're having a chat, if you have a chat or a WhatsApp or whatever on your website, you need to ask the user permission before storing the information. So make sure that is on place. The thing is that usually you will get feedback, you will get questions from your customers, and the recommendation on this side is that you start creating a frequently asked question section. But the thing here is that usually when we think about frequently asked questions, they are not really frequently asked questions. It's us imagining which questions our users might have, and then having a list, creating the frequently asked questions, and forgetting about it. The frequently asked questions should be live, should be alive, and should be updated all the time. When you're getting questions and comments on your support channels, on the phone, on emails, on chats, and everywhere, if you detect that some of those questions are frequent, go and put them on your frequently asked questions sections. Because if you're getting a lot of questions, it means that there's friction in the process, that the user is getting or having objections. So if you reflect the answers to those objections in the frequently asked questions, you can maybe get advanced in the process. And next time, just by reading the frequently asked questions, the users will get lots of their questions answered. So it will also improve your conversions and decrease your demand on the support channels. It's also very recommended that you make your payment methods very prominent as well, so your customers know which payment methods you offer, and they can see upfront if they are good to go or if they will need a different payment method in your case. Put your support channels also upfront. If you're using the phone, at any chat, emails, or anything like that, make sure that it's very visible and the users are able to connect easily through those channels. And of course, make sure that you are ready to answer all those requirements. We already talked about testimonials and reviews. That is very important, not only for the rich snippet, remember the stars, but only because testimonials and reviews are the best way to provide social proof on your pages. If you're a very, very well-known brand, like let's say Apple, if you're going to a landing page in Apple because you're considering buying the next iPhone, you don't need anything that can help you build trust with the brand because you already rely on Apple. They are huge brand, were one of the biggest brands on earth, so they don't need a lot of social proof. But if we are a smaller brand, if we are just starting to build trust, these elements help us a lot on building social trust. Testimonials and reviews are a great way. When you're trying to motivate your customers to write those reviews, try to include sentence or something motivating your customers to don't leave a superficial or fluffy review, something like everything was nice. That's not useful at all. We need stories. Try to ask your customers for stories. Try to ask them how they feel, what was the part of the process they enjoyed the most, or how did they find the product, or something that will help you get stories from your customers. And last point, very important as well, transparent pricing. some of the reasons why customers leave the purchase funnel is usually because the price that they saw at the beginning changed at the end. So try to make everything transparent so users know what to expect, and try to keep hidden fees and hidden things out of the equation. That will help you build trust and, of course, increase your conversions. In terms of integration, let me get some water. In terms of integration, it depends on our business model. If you, for example, have a store, a physical store, you might already have a POS software, a point of sale, where you track purchase on your store, and it will be a great idea to integrate that with your store, because at the end, they are just different channels. You're selling through your store, physical store, or through your e-commerce store. They are different channels, but they need to be connected. And if you're having warehouse to store your inventory, it's also important that you connect your e-commerce and you store with a WMS system, a warehouse management system. This is a platform that will keep your inventory updated on both your store and your e-commerce website, so you end up selling something that it's not available. Of course, you will need to integrate this with a billing software so you can easily and hopefully automatically create invoices and that kind of thing. And you are not hurrying and running every day trying to create a bill for every customer and sending invoices one by one. Try to make this automatic. In case you need to ship something, you need to ship products, it's also very important that you integrate this with a shipping platform or solution. So in the minute the customer place the order, the shipping price was already calculated, the shipping time was already shown to the user, and the shipping company will get a notification with a new order. So basically, what you will get if everything is automatic, it's an email with the format and the guide that you need to print and put on the box, and just leave the box on the front desk. So next day or later on the same day, the shipping company will come and pick it up and deliver. The more automatic, the better, so you won't miss and mix stuff in the middle. You will also need a CRM to keep track and centralize all the information for your customers. If you're having an Excel or any spreadsheet format with your customers, and that spreadsheet is getting out of control, it means that it's time for a CRM. You will need to get better on that front and make an upgrade to your operations with a CRM software. For the recurring part of the strategy to keep your customers updated and connected to your platform, it will be very important to have an email marketing automation solution. So you can send all these kind of abandonment emails or review emails or promotions or discounts or whatever automatic email you might think. It's very important to have this solution. Make sure you also integrate your store with social media. It's a good idea to have these floating buttons so customers can easily share your products on social media if they find it useful for something else. If you're having support or if you have a lot of demand after the purchase, it might make sense to have a knowledge base. One of the most popular ones, it's called Zendesk. It will let your customers submit tickets or make requirements, and then you can start replying to those tickets. And at some point, the platform will get intelligent, and when someone is posting a new ticket, before posting it, will show the customer previous answered tickets. So maybe the customer will be able to answer himself the question with one of the previous answered questions. So it will also reduce the amount of tickets that you will need to reply in the daily basis. Remarketing, it's also a very important part of the landscape. If you don't know about it, it's what happens when you go to a product page and then maybe you consider it, but at the end you didn't buy. And then you start seeing ads of that specific same product everywhere. This is something that happens a lot with e-commerce, with tourism, flight companies, hotels, booking, and all these companies do a lot of remarketing. So you also need to take that into place. And if you're using third-party marketplaces like Amazon or Etsy or any other marketplaces, you need to connect them with your stores so inventories and everything is synchronized and you don't have issues on that front. In terms of measurement, there's also some opportunities specifically on this front. You definitely want to have a Google Analytics account. It's free and it's one of the best analytics tools out there. And make sure that as an e-commerce, you set up the enhanced e-commerce tracking model on Google Analytics. It's a special model. You need to set it up, but you will get information specifically for your e-commerce transactions. You will get amount of transactions, revenue by product, and a lot of information related with those purchases. You definitely also need to verify your website on the Google Search Console. You need to log in with an email and verify that your website is actually yours. There's different ways of doing this, but this tool will let you know, among others, which keywords are bringing organic traffic to your website. If you're having a good SEO strategy and organic traffic is coming your way, the one of the only places on earth that you will see your keywords, your organic keywords, is the Google Search Console. So it's very important. And there's other tools you will also find on the Google Search Console. It's also recommended to have some heat maps or visitor recordings. I usually recommend a tool called Hotjar. Imagine having a webcam in the forehead of your customers. You will get some videos of the actual process and interaction of your customers within your website. You will see if they scroll down or up, or if they expanded a accordion or collapsed it, or if they played the video or not, and you will be able to see all the interaction. And that's specifically very useful at the beginning of the projects. When you're launching and you want to get as much feedback as possible, these tools are very, very important. And make sure you have some social media monitoring software in place so you can automatically detect who's talking about you and what kind of conversation are customers having around your business out there. And on digital marketing, this will be like the general look of it. This is probably something huge. We are not going into detail, but we can have a new session afterwards just to talk about this. But just so you can have a general idea of the process, there's two main areas on this scheme. You have two types of customers. You have customers that are already looking for your products. Those customers that are looking for your products are probably doing it on Google or in any search engine. So search is usually the channel that we need to cover in terms of connecting with these customers that are already searching for our products. So in that front, in search engines, SEO for organic traffic and SEM for paid traffic. Google Ads and all these platforms will help us bring that traffic paid at the beginning. And then we will be working on the SEO part in the meantime so we can get that traffic afterwards. And there's another type of customers, which are customers that needs your products, but are not looking for them. If your customer needs your product and are not looking for them, probably the best way to connecting with them will be social media. These are the best channels to connecting with those customers. So you may want to said all, not all, but maybe the most important social networks for you. So you make sure that you can connect with them if they need you. They are not looking for your solution actively, but they need you. So that will be the best way to connect with them. As I was saying, we can go deeper on a next session um, later on. And just as an additional tool, I already mentioned it. WhatsApp Business, definitely recommended. This will be a must in most of our businesses. I will definitely recommend. Okay, this is it. These are the first items of the checklist that I wanted to share with you. And I am getting some questions here from
Yay! I'm going
you.
to help you out.
Nay,
Congratulations, Luis. I was like
thank
taking
you.
notes, like boom, 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 boom. A lot of people ask some questions. We centralize it here so we can go one by one. Yeah. So we have the
Great.
first one. I can do the question and you can do the answer. So it's more tin. So
Perfect.
Juliana
Shoot.
was asking, when is the right time to create my e-commerce site if I first try to launch via a Facebook store?
Great question. I will say when the messages and the Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram interaction is getting so high that it's getting out of control, that will be maybe the best moment to create your e-commerce site so you can move some of that hype to your website, and then you can be a little bit more relaxed on the day by day.
So let's define what is out of control.
You're getting crazy, basically.
Okay,
If
that's
you
it.
feel that there's so many messages, people asking for your products, that you don't have enough hours in the day to reply to all those messages, it's probably time to move to an e-commerce website.
Perfect. Then it's time to start investing because maybe this Facebook store can serve as a validation, framework.
Totally, as
That's
an MVP, as a minimum viable product in many cases.
great. Next question. Do I need to hire a developer to set up WhatsApp for business?
No, that's a great thing. It's pretty easy.
Okay.
It has just a few more options as the regular WhatsApp, but you just need to go to the stores, download the app, and it will be pretty easy to set up.
Okay. And you can also integrate that into your site instead of having yeah? So
Yes,
you can centralize
so
everything.
customers can write you there.
Perfect. Our existing CMS, you were talking about the different CMS systems, including responsive sites, or do you need to optimize for mobile? Because you were also suggesting some testing for that.
Actually, most of the popular CMS already include responsive templates. Usually, what you have on top of the CMS is a template, a theme, and those templates or those themes are usually responsive. If they are good enough, they will be responsive because this is been a trend for, I will say, the last 6 or 5 years. So I think by now everything will be responsive. You
Yeah.
just need to make sure, but I will bet on that.
It's funny that people still ask about it, customers that are just getting started, they are like, is my website going to be good on, or do I need a mobile application? Maybe it's good to distinguish that, Luis, because many people think that they need to have a mobile application to be mobile. Yeah. And that's not true.
Definitely. And actually, it's a huge risk when you think on building an app because most of the times it's not really necessary. I will recommend an app either if you need access to specific features of your phone or if the frequency of use is high. If you need to use the app on a daily basis or at least once a week, maybe that will make a mobile app a good idea. If you're having customers that will use your app once a month, I don't think they will keep an app on their phones for one use a month.
Yeah, that's a good criteria. Two
Yeah.
comments here before we continue with the questions. One, I like how your glasses are matching with the background. Second
Nice.
comment, please,
That's
people,
my.
take advantage of this. It's live for a reason. So post all your questions because we're going one by one to comments. Yeah, so about CMS, so you were mentioning like personal server options. Which one do you recommend? You have like WordPress and Shopify.
In terms of servers, I gave you my some of my recommendations. You can go to Bluehost, HostingGator, Hostinger. I left you some of them.
Mhm.
Depending on the platform you're using, some of them are optimized or have optimized plans for WordPress, for example. That
Mhm.
will be great. In terms of CMS, my definite favorite is WordPress. That's the one that I usually recommend. I think it's, I wouldn't say that's the easiest because the easiest will probably go to Wix,
Yeah.
but being maybe second on easier, WordPress is a lot more powerful and more, probably you will be able to escalate easier on a WordPress than on a Wix
Mhm.
or on those platforms. So that's
Well,
my
at
personal
seven
favorite.
days to go, we had done like I don't know more than 500 websites on WordPress.
Yeah.
But many people they always are really afraid of hacking. They say, "Well, WordPress is not secure." Let's talk about that myth. Is it true?
WordPress is the most popular content management system, and that has its own risks. And usually, and this happens with every content management system, by default, they can be unsecure and slow. But that's
Mm-hmm.
something that you can fix easily with plugins. You just need to make sure to set it up properly so those risks are covered.
So, what
Usually,
security plugins should I take into account when I have my WordPress site?
I usually use one called iThemes Security, but
Okay.
usually when you hire a WordPress optimized hosting plan, they already have some of those security measures on place at the level, at the server level, so you don't even have to bother about having plugins. What I would like to say, and I hope I'm not ruining the day to anyone over there, but the only company I don't recommend you is GoDaddy. Unfortunately, is the
Mm,
most popular one. Chances are some of you have products or services, and maybe you had a good experience, but in general, the experience is not good. And the reason that I
why?
don't
Mhm.
recommend them is because I think that they have overpricing schemes. They usually charge a lot for products, taking advantage of the fact that most people don't really know that there are cheaper options. For a domain
Mm,
that you usually can get for, I don't know, 5, 6, 10 euros, they will charge you
mm,
maybe €3 for the first year and then a
mm.
hundred for the next year. So I think that is not
Wow.
fair. That's what I don't like.
Okay, so watch out for them.
Yes.
And choose wisely your domain and hosting providers. Yeah. So you mentioned the pop-up solution. So when people, you said like a way to engage with customers and also to get your database growing is to have these pop-up solutions to make special offers or sign-ups to your newsletter, right? So which one do you recommend for that? What solution do you
That is
recommend?
something that will usually come from your CRM solution because it's
Ah,
usually
okay.
where the
Mm,
information will get stored. So most of the CRMs out there has these pop-ups included, like HubSpot, ActiveCampaign. Uh, all these platforms include pop-ups. If you're not having a CRM, a proper CRM, you're only having an email list just for newsletters. Most of the providers as MailChimp and Sendinblue and Constant Contact and all these has also pop-ups. So it will be easy to find.
okay, so talking about CRM, which one do you recommend? You mentioned different tools, and also how can I manage my customers via that system? So apart from centralizing the database, what can you do thanks to the CRM?
Okay, one of my favorites on that front is ActiveCampaign. I think is pretty similar to HubSpot, which is one of the most popular for small businesses, but it's not as expensive as HubSpot if you're studying. And the idea is that you have all your funnel steps on your CRM, so you can either manually or automatically, based on some rules, start moving your customers along the funnel, so you can know every moment which customers are on each step of the funnel.
Is a active campaign also including the different modules? Because Hotspot has marketing, sales, customer services,
But
all in one.
in active campaign, it's a little bit more simple. I think they have, of
The
course,
simplified.
different plans, but I have the Plus plan, which includes pretty much everything you can need.
Okay, great. Also, due to Corona crisis, I have to say that Hotspot was also launching a special offer. So we hop on into that one because normally people with Hotspot starts with the free plan, right? So we're using that one. It's only like $50. We launched an event about it. We actually hosted an event about that for a year. So that's a really good tool to combine it, so you can compare between Active Campaign and Hotspot and see what you prefer. But the logic behind it is exactly the same. So no problemo.
Cool.
Okay, so if I have hundreds of products, how can I integrate my products into my social media channels?
That is great, and that's actually part of the social commerce trend. Nowadays, we can connect our products on the store with our stores in Facebook and Instagram. So basically, if you keep your inventory synced with your social stores in Facebook or Instagram, you can start tagging your products on your social media posts. So you can make some really nice pictures with models or whatever, depending on the product. And then you can tag the shirt and then the pants and the sneakers and the hat and the bag. And you can tag products on your posts. And that will be probably a great way to show your products on social media. That's a great opportunity we have right now, especially on Instagram. I will say the opportunity is great.
Okay, perfect. That's a nice tip, especially when you have a large catalog. Yeah. So you can create like segments. And you also mentioned the social media monitoring. What's the best methodology to keep an eye on that, or tools, or how you should do it so you don't get crazy?
I will say that the social media monitoring is important for two reasons. One, because you definitely want to know what people is talking about you. And then in case the conversation is not positive, the customers or people talking about you is not very happy about you, you definitely want to get notice about that and be able to jump on the situation and make your best to fix the issues and make those customers the happiest ones. But also because it will help you integrate with your content strategy and your social media efforts on daily basis, and you will be able to grab and get those stories from real customers talking about your product. That would be a great way of getting actual real customer reviews.
Perfect. We have last because we need to wrap it up as well. But Sheva, hello. She was asking about what is the name of the CRM again. We were talking about Hotspot CRM and Pipedrive.
The one that I mentioned is
Active Campaign.
Sorry. But there is a lot. There's also Infusionsoft. In Latin America, RD Station has been growing a lot. There's a lot of CRMs out there.
Compare.
Soho, it's also interesting. They also have a free version. There's a lot.
Okay, so we're going to just leave you. We're just going to reply to your comment and add the names in there so you can check it and also take advantage of, like the expert that is focusing on CRM, so you can book him for free. Talking about that, let's close it up. So we have next steps after Q&A. So as I said before, Luis is going to be available here. Luis, Katin, you know that he's talking, he knows what he's talking about. And we know that this topic can be like, whoa, a lot of things to do. Maybe you feel really overwhelmed. So for sure, you need to take a break to check this presentation, play the video, make sure that we have your emails so we can send you everything by email. And so you can book the 15-minute free call with Luis, who's going to be available to solve any questions, to get you started, to see what challenges do you have that we can easily provide you with some feedback, right? Yes, so that's the next step. So we'll give us your email, just share the email so we can send this presentation, give you access to the video recording and to this booking link where you can talk to Luis about this because we're up. And quickly, to wrap it up, Luis, please. We have upcoming events every Monday and every Thursday. We're doing events. Thursdays are for live webinars and expert demonstrations. Yeah, also workshops. We have many different things. So basically on Thursdays, we have our experts for 1 hour. The next one is closing the month with how basically being on all the challenges around leadership. Right now, all leaders, everybody who's a team lead, everybody who's the company owner, has a lot of challenges and how we can become these, leaders and have a good balance between business and life. So it's about leadership, but also about balance, about not getting crazy. All these topics, we of course, plan the full agenda to match the corona crisis, to match what is happening right now, our situation. And as Luis was saying in the beginning, is all about seeing the opportunity. Of course, in the beginning it was shocking for everybody. Now we're thinking about how this can be a good opportunity to even get a new business started with e-commerce and know how you should be able to put yourself out there and make the best out of these times. And Luis, what do we have next? No, next slide. So we launched in Spanish yesterday. So every 2 weeks, we're going to do events every Wednesday, so every 2 weeks, Wednesdays, we have an expert coming with us. Perfect, because this event is going to be about the checklist, but from legal perspective for your website, I promise to do the English version of this as well. So basically, it's everything that Luis was saying, like we need to check it out, especially when in Europe is way more strict with the GDPR, compliance. And we need to see, what do you need to take into account when it comes to your terms and conditions, privacy policy, everything you need to take into account, which also, as we said, is going to be in favor of the customer. So, where our expert is going to be there. Also, really nice people. They also talk in a simplified way. So don't worry, we're not going to get lost. And last but not least, what do we have? So every Monday, that's for sure, every Monday, we have something called Coffee Break with Me. What is that? We grab some coffee and talk over 30 minutes on any topic, across our expert pool. We have 9 categories now and more than 40 experts happy to share knowledge in a more chill out, relaxed environment as a live Q&A event. It's happening every Monday. Next Monday, we're going to talk with Caterina Petropulo on content marketing. Now we have content boom. What are the formats? What are the best practices? How can I really create content that is valuable? That's really important, guys. And that's it. I think just thank you for all coming there. We leave you the contacts there. We have the last slide with our contact details as well, Luis. Please, he's helping me a lot. Thank you. So thank you for coming. Here's our email, website, channels. Just make sure that you are there so you can be notified as soon as we publish our next events. And that's it. See you there. Thank you, Luis, for everything.
Thank you for the invite and for having me. Have a great day.
Yes, you too. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.